What is a nestling period? If you're curious about the life cycle of birds, especially the stage when their young are growing and preparing to leave the nest, you're in the right place. Let's explore what the nestling period is all about. The nestling period is a critical phase in a bird's life cycle, starting right after the eggs hatch and continuing until the young birds or nestlings are ready to fly and leave the nest. During this time, the nestlings grow and develop rapidly. To understand this period better, let's break it down into key stages. Right after hatching, the nestlings are tiny, blind, and completely dependent on their parents for food and warmth. As they grow, they start to develop feathers, and their eyes begin to open. For example, in the case of bluebirds, by around day 5, the nestlings have already gained significant weight and started to develop their first feathers, particularly around the head and chin. As the nestlings continue to grow, they go through distinct developmental stages. By around days 8 and 9, they start to show more feathers, especially on their wings and tails, and they can begin to regulate their own body temperature without constant brooding from their parents. By days 10 and 11, they are more feathered, can stand, stretch their wings, and even preen themselves. It's important to note that during this period, the parents are very attentive, feeding the nestlings frequently and ensuring they have everything they need to grow. For instance, in the case of the common potu, parents alternate care of the nestling, feeding it and keeping it safe, especially during the nocturnal hours. The nestling period also involves monitoring the health and survival of the young. For researchers and bird enthusiasts, this means conducting follow-up visits at specific times. Ideally, you would visit the nest when the young are half grown and again when they are 3/4 grown to track their development and survival rates. As the nestlings near the end of this period, they become more restless and start to prepare for their first flight. For bluebirds, this typically happens around days 16 to 22, where they start to peek out of the nest cavity and eventually fledge or leave the nest. Even after they leave, the parents continue to feed them until they are capable of sustained flight. In summary, the nestling period is a vital and dynamic phase where young birds grow, develop, and prepare to take their first flights, all under the careful watch of their parents. Understanding this period helps us appreciate the intricate life cycle of birds and the dedication of their parents.